And a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to the official Trade Talk channel, where I show you how I analyze price for the most consistent and higher probable entries to help you all become better traders. So yesterday we kind of got robbed on the live stream. I don't know if today will go any better, but we're going to give it a shot. So it's no secret to anybody, Mr. Bitcoin has taken a pretty good sized dump. Let me put this on watch real quick. All right. So, yeah, it's taken a pretty good sized dump. I mean, you're down 7.48%. Yesterday, I had tweeted out that, if Bitcoin was going to bounce, the pretty good spot to look for that to happen would have been right there around $22,392, just the low of that bearish candle. As you can see where we currently are, we have dumped completely down beyond that. So, yeah, that didn't work out. Very good. If I go over here to the daily time frame, you're going to see that this daily candle's midpoint is roughly there. So, a lot of stops down there. Yeah, that's, this last time, that's the place where we don't, or where we got a bounce from. So, it's only natural that anybody that got long here had their stops trailed up to that point, and boom, shakalaka to the downside. So, yesterday, we did line up a trade, but the stream broke down. The stream broke down before we could execute that trade. What we were watching was this right here. I basically said that, if you close an hourly above, you can scrap the trade because either it's going to be a trap, or B, you're going to be wrong if you get long. We did take out that swing high. The hourly closed pretty strong. And then the very next hourly candle, we were still making this candle when the stream cut out yesterday. So we were looking for short entries at 23,538. We would have put our stops up there. Now, after the stream crashed, I was unable to get short because I was looking for this wick to trade up into supply there, and it just did not come up there and fill me. And then later on throughout the day, price ends up rolling over, and here is where we currently are. So if you took that trade, kudos to you. I know Mr. Jimenez has pretty much nailed this entire move to the downside. I was not expecting that big of a candle when I woke up this morning. I can tell you that much. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Over here on the daily, you can see that not only did we break down below the 21 exponential, we are trading well under it. We are damn near oversold on the RSI, and we were just at the 50 yesterday. So, yeah, pretty big dump. We got support under us, so I mean, there's nothing to do on Bitcoin today, right? You're already down 7.58%. In the area where you are, there is a tad bit of daily support. You can see how you've checked that. So I mean, that would have been the only place to look for the bounce trade. With that much volatility and that much momentum moving to the downside, I do not believe I would have taken it, and I didn't. So yeah, what we're going to take a look at is we're going to watch a couple other assets. I have Bitget pulled up. If you don't know who Bitget is, there is an affiliate link down in the bottom or in the description. Use code XTSC if you want to sign up to Bitget. Use the referral link. I would greatly appreciate it. But anyways, we have two bullish assets on the day: KNC USDT and TRB USDT. Here are the three down here. These are the three Forex pairs that we're currently watching for trades this morning. We're looking for dollar strength to continue. If you look at dollar Swiss compared to the dollar, this thing has not gotten any sort of bullish move. This is due to the Swiss franc being strong, obviously, but I do believe that if you do break out on the dollar, this will be one of the best looking ones to look to get long. Currently, you're trading at the open of the day. So we're going to watch this candle here for support. If we break down below that with an hourly close, we'll probably scratch it unless it ends up being a bear trap. And then we'll get long and we'll target first resistance there at 95719. That's the open on that. NZD JPY, another asset that is not moving good today. That's because both of these assets are extremely weak. If you look down here, you're going to see NZD and then JPY. So typically you don't want to trade currencies that are both extremely weak or both extremely strong, as what you will normally get is a lot of sideways choppy price action. And that's what I expect out of NZD JPY. As you can see, they are both extremely weak, with the yen being just a little bit weaker. So that means you would be looking for longs, right? Maybe. So one way that we can figure out what we want to do is we can go look at our currency futures, check out where the Japanese yen is, and see if it's coming into any support. And if it is, we can look to short the NZD JPY, expecting the yen to bounce. But as you can see, you're not coming into any support at all. And I don't have, oh yeah, I do. And then here is New Zealand dollar. Same thing. You can see here you're breaking down. You're not coming into any support. So this one will probably have to leave it alone, because it can literally go either direction, right? Our daily bias would have us long, based simply and solely on where the 21 exponential is. You can see that you are just above the 50. However, this could indicate that it could be getting ready to break down, right? We do have daily support down there, and you just now become red on the day. So it's one of those trades where, yeah, it could be a short or it could be a long. So, what do you do? Well, we can look to see where risk reward lies. So let's see that. Let's say if we were going to get long right there, our stop would have to be the close of that bearish candle, and then our target would be roughly in the resistance. You can see it's a 2.11 to 1 risk to reward. And if we look for the short setup here, same scenario, you have to go there, as that is supply. Bring your risk down to there, and you can pull this up into there, and just about the same, right? It's not really a good solid risk to reward either direction. Both directions are giving a risk to reward, obviously, but what we're worried about is if it just decides to go straight or sideways all day, which it could, right? Everything has moved pretty decent already this morning, so we're just trying to find that hidden gem, if you will, the one that isn't moving, that could potentially move. All right? Here we are under the 50. We're going to be under the 21, so that means we have a bias of downside. You've already traded up, making a high of day and rolling off. If we go into here, you're going to see that daily range is very, very tiny. But order flow appears to be going lower. Now, the weekly bias, or the weekly order flow, is going to be up, but you can see what stalled it out right there. This is clearly a downtrend on the weekly. You can see that you traded into weekly resistance. You didn't quite get up there, so one could argue that it was just supply that had it rolling over. So, this one looks like it's a good look to the downside, and intraday, we've already made the move. So what we would do is we would wait for a potential push back up into resistance. There's where we look for a short entry. And as you can see, we got wicks everywhere. So just not a great trading day out there. I don't know what this asset is. I don't understand why it's up 6%, seeing how the rest of the crypto market is down, and down big. Let me see here something real quick. Not dropping any frames. Everything looks good. You guys can hear me and see my screen, so we're going to keep rocking on. Good morning, good mornings, good mornings. Even on the 2 week, yeah, it's bad. Bitcoin looks really, really bad. Good afternoon, fam. Afternoon to my boss. I'm not your boss. I'm your friend. Just a friend trying to help. Internet's holding well. Yeah, let's hope it does. My wife's boyfriend says, what's up? What's up, Sloth Bag's wife's boyfriend? Yeah, that sucks. Bitcoin at 2 day support. Maybe we'll take a look at it. Ed says, turning in from behind Wendy's on my break. Yeah, I like Wendy's. I look in the mirror and flex my muscles after going to the bathroom sometimes. Okay. More of some great info there from Sloth Bag, Mr. Sloth Bag. So we got TRB, USDT. Everything else is down. If I come over here and pull up my newly minted Bitget watch list, you're going to see that literally everything is down except for this and one other asset, KNC USD. And I mean everything is down big. 15% down, 11, 16, 13, 12, 11, 13, 16. I mean, and it just goes on and on and on. Most of these things are down double digits. So the fact that this is up, that gives us an opportunity to potentially look for shorts. However, you pull up the daily chart, you're going to see that this thing is moving up big, and it has been moving up big for a while. We're going to pull this up real quick. You're going to see that this thing is up almost 600% on the year. Well, not on the year. Let's see where we are year to date. We're up 600% from the lows, and, you know, we're up on the year because that is your yearly open right there. So this asset's bullish on the year, bullish from the lows, bullish, today it says it's red, but it says it's up 5%. But the daily candle is clearly and obviously red. One of those things, I guess. But anyways, there's not really anything to watch here. If you do get another stab back up to supply, you can look for entries there. That would give an awesome risk to reward, to be honest with you. So we're going to watch 41.65. We're going to throw us a little alert right there. Give my internet time to put the alert on. There we go. And then the other one was what? KNC. Let's go take a look at KNC. Here we go. Oh, that's not the one. Damn it. All right, so here we are. KNC's bullish on the day. Broke out yesterday. This one's not up nearly as big as the other one, but it is up on the day. And it is up 60% from the lows. So another potential short opportunity here. I like to look to short alts whenever Bitcoin is getting crushed. All right. Everything else is down, and this thing just liquidated the range highs. So that's a good spot to watch, right, for potential entries. Now what we can do is we can go over to the intraday time frame and see if we got any support, any resistance around that, because that is your liquidation point. It's been trading above the liquidation point for some time. So right here at 1 a.m., you had that spike to the upside. That was the liquidation. Then you got a bearish reaction, and now you're kind of like stuck here. So my guess would be that this right here should hold as resistance, 1.7907. Remember, it's bullish, so even though the cryptocurrencies are all down except two that are on the Bitget exchange, it doesn't mean that they have to go down, but it is a pretty good bet. So let's go look at the trade that we lined up Tuesday, live on stream. We lined this one up, Mr. Doge. Obviously, I'm not in this anymore. As I said yesterday, this wick came right back up and stopped me out of the rest of the position. It was a profitable trade because we got short there. We took profits on the move lower, moved the stop to break even. If this, that was a pretty nice short, all in all. If you got short on Doge Tuesday and you're still in it, kudos to you, because the entirety of the bullish breakout has been sold off. And then another one we were looking at, but we were not able to get short, was EOS. And we'll go take a look at it. You can see that it has a big candle. This thing was up 16% on this day. And then you can see that move has been completely sold off. So with all that, we know all that. So that means we can look to sell KNC, USDT, and, think that maybe this could potentially do the same. And I have TRB USDT on the other monitor. I'll keep an eye on that. And we do have an alert set at supply. So we're going to keep an eye on these two for today. We're going to see if we can get a short. And then we'll also keep an eye on USDCHF, which is the FX pair. One of the only FX pairs that, we're looking to trade. And we're looking for this to hold support, right? This is the open of the day. So the support zone is down there. We didn't quite get there just yet. We may. Well, an alert there as well. All right. Good morning. Good mornings. Apple, please, if you have time. Yeah, we have time. We're not rushing. Let's go take a look at it. gapping down, which is to be expected. The market's down, but it's just a pullback. It looks like a bad gap down, but it's just a pullback. I mean, this thing has been so damn bullish once we got the lows. I mean, these lows are probably it. You know what I mean? I do not expect us to make another bear market low. I do not expect this to be like '08. I do believe that inflation is topped out. We won't know until we get a next CPI print. It must be lower than the last one. But if that's the case, there's a pretty good chance that this is just going to be a bullish pullback. So we're going to watch for support. First support to watch for is going to be 168.49. And then obviously this is going to be the second one. Let's go over here and check and see what it looks like on the weekly. So on the weekly, neither one of those levels match a weekly close or a weekly open. So yeah, you do have the weekly open of this bullish breakout candle here. So maybe watch that one. I mean, this thing is just a little bit away from making new all-time highs. Good morning. Was excited to see my 22,500 position executed. 22,500. Let's see where you are. Obviously, you're down. I hope you weren't buying it. If you did, yeah, you bought it. So hopefully you had a stop loss sitting just below it. Didn't really give you any time at all. I mean, let's go back out here real quick and just show you how fast it broke down through that. All right, because that's where it was. That's where we were looking for a potential bounce. Ugh. Look at that. That's a 5-minute candle right there. So, I mean, it's unlikely that anybody had a stop low enough to not get stopped out there. And chances are with that big of a move in a 5-minute period, your exchange would have liquidated you anyways due to volatility, more than likely. So it's I just don't see anybody getting long there and still being in the position. That was a brutal move. I was up late last night. We were looking for it to roll over. Then I ended up going to bed. Basically told everybody else that London session was going to have all the fun, more than likely, because of how the Asian session was acting. And boom, London session opens up and drops. The SPX is not down big. It's not even down a whole percent today. So if we go over here and look, I mean, that's not a super huge pullback. This is the weekly open or the weekly low on the SPX. It has to get there in order to be a bull trap, in order to look for shorts on the SPX, or to look for a 50% retracement. If you think it's going to keep going lower, then you can wait for a resistance test, because that is support. And today's the first time you're breaking down. So if it comes back up there, maybe look to get short. I do believe you can pull back all the way down to the old weekly resistance, which is all the way down there. I just don't think you're going to do it today. Maybe it takes, 2 weeks or 3 weeks to get back down there. So it still looks bullish to me, even though everything's red. This does not look bad at all. If we go back to the daily and see where the 21 exponential is, you're going to see that it's way down there. So, I mean, this thing can pull all the way back to there and still be structured and look bullish. So be very careful looking for shorts. Bitcoin, on the other hand, yeah, we're looking for shorts. So now that we have the range in, more than likely, that's going to be at or close to the low of the week. I just don't think you're going to get a lot more downside today on it. I mean, it's possible you do, but I'm assuming that pretty close you're going to see the low of the weekend. Then we're going to look for a pullback next week, and we're going to look to sell that high, right? Right back up into this if it gets up there, right? 23,163. That'll look really good. Look like a really good place to look for short entries if it gets up there. There's nothing that says it will, but there's a couple daily swing lows in here that it might find resistance at. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that, this thing has broken down, right? It has legit broken down, no matter what technical aspect you're looking at to consider a breakdown. But yeah, that's a breakdown, right? This is your bullish trend. It was a little bit steep, just the way that the candles were made. But that was your bullish trend. As long as you were above that, you could look for longs or, look for the breakout to happen. But since the breakout didn't happen, since we were trading over here, we were very suspect of Bitcoin. Because when you liquidate a big swing high, yeah, you could pull back for a day or two, but then I expect that breakout to continue. We did get a legit breakout, but we could not get any bullish strength going. So if you go look at the DXY and how it handled its breakout, go over here and look, this is your breakout right here. So, the first 2 days you struggle at it. Not even 2 days, 1 day. But if you look at this as the place for the breakout, if you're not even looking at resistance, you trade up here, you make a fresh August high. Then the next day you trade as an inside day. And then Thursday, this thing breaks out to the upside. That's what Bitcoin should have done. But since it didn't do that, we were very suspect on it and we were looking for shorts. Right? First place for me to look for shorts was at daily resistance, and you can see that you tested that to perfection the other day. Right there. I just missed the entry. It's okay, right? There's opportunities every single day in these markets, so we don't have to sweat about missing one. But yeah, it's broken down. There's nothing else that can be said about it. So we'll look for pullbacks. We'll look for the next week's high. That's where we'll look to get short. May take a week because this was a big, big day. May take a couple days for the liquidity or for the volume to be chewed up to see what it wants to do. So we're not going to look for short tomorrow. We're not going to just short it if it just gets a small bounce up to here. We're not going to be looking to short that. You're coming into support. You can't short at support, right? So finally, this thing is showing us that it is down, but it is still up over on Bitget. Not really moving a whole lot. This is where it's been for a while. There's not much liquidity in this because those candles are all gappy and nasty looking. Yeah. I think, I wish it would set in an hourly resistance, and the only hourly resistance that we have to watch is all the way there. And I know that big wick makes the risk look like garbage. And the other one was K and C. There we go. Yeah, we're going to watch this one right here. I'm sweating. Gotta get my fan on or something. That'll make a lot of racket. I've been MIA for 2 weeks. We at random market violence. Yeah. Heat check Aussie dollar. It's at daily support. Let's go take a look at it. Yeah, I mean, it is, but does this hold? Will it bounce? It's possible, but you need a dollar to loosen up, and it's not, right? The dollar is still pushing. We are coming into a supply on the dollar, so you might get another stab up. I don't know if that area even holds, right? But it is daily supply right there. 108, 139 is going to be a big area for it to get over, but that's a lot of bullish momentum. We don't like to short things that have a lot of momentum one way or the other. And the Aussie dollar's got a lot of momentum to the downside. But you are correct. It is at daily support. 0.68886. That's what you look like intraday. Yeah, it's not my favorite. I can tell you that. Not my favorite. I love my Friday streams. Thanks, man. Drink that Essentia. Yep, I got a whole bottle sitting right here next to me. It's hot, so it's destroying my eyes. Good stuff. Please, can you check the next long entry for tomorrow? XP. Oh, man. Well, since Bitcoin just broke down, you're probably not looking for longs until it finds support or until it gets to support. I mean, that's a big gap down, but to be fair, this could be it could be support because it is old resistance. And you can see that it was resistance because you could not close the daily above it each time you got above it. Even here, I mean, that was a good liquidation, but then you still ended up closing under. But this was tested as support already. So this day you broke out. Next day you gapped up higher, pulled back, pulled back. So this would have been the long entry. Right there. So since that price has already been tested, you got to wait for another support. This support wasn't tested. I mean, when you tested this right here and you closed on the day, next day you gapped up, excuse me, gapped up well above it. So maybe watch 1443, but you're already below that intraday. You're coming into this support. It's the same thing that's going on Bitcoin right now. Yeah, you might get a bounce, but this is just now breaking down, to be fair. It's just now breaking down. All right? Yesterday it was here, it's struggling, and now today you're opening down here. So there's your breakdown. So now you just got to wait for support, and I just don't have that answer for you. Let's go to the weekly and see where we got. You don't have support on the weekly, so I guess maybe if it gets there, see if that area holds. I'm not expecting new lows. Not expecting new lows. Can it happen? Of course. Absolutely, it can happen, but I'm not expecting it. Not expecting it at all. XPEV. Yeah, you might get new lows on this. You're coming back into the bottom of the range, and as long as support holds, which you're below it. Next area to look for potential support is here. And this thing is extremely wiki. So you're gapping down. This was your support right there to watch, but you closed below it last week. And now you're still under it. So that could mean you're looking for 1938. That's going to be the bottom end of the range. So that's probably where I'd look to be a buyer. I don't like it. I hate the chart. The chart's disgusting. The chart looks like it wants to make fresh, new, all-time lows. And it will do that if it breaks down below 1718. So, I mean, I don't like the chart. So I don't think I'd be looking to get long on it. And KGC. KGC, I don't know what this is or why anybody would own it unless maybe you work for this company and it's your long-time portfolio. The chart is absolutely disgusting. Yeah, this is an ugly chart. You're at the low, pre-market, you're at the low. I mean, you're not at the lows, but I mean, you're not far from the lows. You're at $3.49, and the lows are just, what, $1.33? So, I don't know. Look at your weeklies. Last 5 weeks, whereas everything else has been nice and bullish and screaming to the upside, this move has been, like, muted. Like Bitcoin. Very muted, to say the least. Now you're getting ready to break down. So I wouldn't be looking for longs on this. I would be waiting for a resistance to short it. And yesterday was that short. It didn't get all the way up to resistance, but yesterday was the short. Because now pre-market you're down here. So let's see if intraday, or if it went up there. No volume in this at all. No liquidity at all. Nobody's even trading this. This is not, I mean, yeah, I would just stay away from this unless it's a buy-in hold. If it's a buy and hold, I mean, it might go up, but this thing is usually always only going in one direction, and that's down. And I typically don't like to buy assets that only go down because you end up getting hurt, right? Right now I'm setting in a loss on this, right? I thought, I thought I could get in cheap on this around $10. Seeing how it's made all-time highs of $62, $10 seemed cheap to me, right? That's right in there where I got long. And as you can see, once you got under it, it's just not been able to get back above 1050. And it's back to trending to the downside. So I am currently down on this trade 38%. It's not a trade. This is a long time hodl. I'm pretty sure in about 3 or 4 years, as long as inflation starts to go lower, that this will end up being a profitable position. But I'm sitting in a loss right now on it. And if we make fresh lows, we're going to be at all-time lows. There's literally no support down there. And at that point, my investment will be down big. So, I mean, this asset doesn't always only go down, but it did start going down before the bear market started. Right? So this was like a blow off top. October is when we started to get bearish on this channel because we knew the Fed was going to start hiking rates. We knew they were going to start hiking rates because of inflation. So that's when we got bearish over here. And you can see that this thing had already pulled back a lot before that. So it wasn't a good buy on my part. It was just a random spur of the moment thing, right? So try not to buy assets that only go down. You want to buy assets that only go up, like Apple, like Amazon. Those assets are what you want to buy. Not today, obviously, but I mean, if you stretch this chart out, it only goes in one direction, right? That's up. Up, 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 up. Massive valuations on most companies. But there's a reason why. It's a $1 trillion company. Right? $1 trillion company. So these are the things that you want to hold in your portfolio, and buying them on a pullback. That's what you want to do. I mean, AMD was a great buy down there. Right? It set in the lows there, and you've been getting a nice little bounce. That's probably going to be the low on AMD. Those are the assets you want to buy. Stuff that moves up. USD leaving without us. Yeah, I haven't gotten an alert. I didn't get an alert. Yeah, it didn't get there. It almost did. Son of a biscuit. That was the entry. But it didn't get there. I needed it to get there. Yeah. And we would be already taking profits. And we'll keep an eye on it. It's 8:30. It's getting a little bit late for FX, but not for these other things. Euro Aussie's moving away too, but this hasn't given us a chance to even get in it. And then this one, whether it's a long or a short, is hard to say. I mean, NZD is extremely weak, and it has been weak, but against an asset that's weaker, still more structured to the bullish side than it is the bearish side. Right there's daily support. But you bounced off of daily support, so one could see if this hourly candle closes above that. If it does, we can get long. It's going to put us getting long right into supply. But I think we can manage. So we'll watch this. Thanks, bro. You're welcome. Next short entry for Ethereum Classic. Missed the boat. They're yeah. when you say stuff like that, it makes me upset, right? Next short entry. You're trying to short something that's already came off a lot. You're into support. And it's a pretty decent support, right? You traded into it a couple times here and then put in a bear trap and gone. You're back down there. We can't short it down there. You got to wait for resistance. And unfortunately on this, resistance is all the way back up above the breakdown candle. There's not a short on, I mean, if you're going to short a cryptocurrency today, then it's going to be either TRB, which is this thing, or KNC, because they're both up. Everything else is down, and I mean down big, double digit down. 10, 11, 13, 16%. Flow is down 17%. GMT is down 17%. Luna is down 16%, which Luna's garbage. Anyways. I mean, a lot of them are already down. This one's up, so we look for our opportunities here. Doesn't look like it wants to be an opportunity, but we're going to keep our eyes on it. It's getting pretty close to a spot where I could suggest entry. Stop would be above these two wicks. But it's been choppy, and it's choppy to up, right? It hasn't rolled over yet. So getting short up here is literally trying to pick the top. And in this thing, there's nothing in here for us to short off of. It's just a nasty ass candle. And this thing does that. Up, straight down. So when it moves quick. It looks toppy. Looks toppy. But it is one of the most bullish cryptocurrencies that I've seen. I mean, like I said, this thing is up almost 600% off the lows. It gave a flawless support test entry. Where's the long on Bitcoin today? Yeah, it has to be retraced at some point, but it doesn't have to go far. When you try to buy the low, like right there would have been the time to do it because you just liquidated the daily low. So right there would have been your long. And then you're taking profits on a tiny bounce because you're obviously super duper bearish. So any single pop, it's not shorts entering it. It's people selling. It's positions being liquidated. This can keep going lower all freaking day. It can just keep going because we don't know what happened. All the liquidations that happened on this candle, the reason that this is going lower, that's not because new people are jumping in short. This is trending to the downside because of all the damage that has already been done, right? It would take a shit ton of buying down here to make this thing stop and turn around. And it might be, right? There might be a lot of buying going on down here. But, not smart. It's not professional traders aren't taking longs down here. If you want to get long, then your chance was to wait for the low of day to be liquidated. And boom, there it was. Now, does that mean that's going to be the low of day? No. It just means that you just liquidated the low of day. So if you're going to bounce, that's typically when you would expect it to happen, right? A fresh low of day test. And there it is. At 9:30, this thing could roll right back down and be trading at $21,000 in no time. And then lower. Probably won't. You know what I mean? It probably won't. The bulk of the volume came in right here. So it does look like people were trying to pick the low. So, to be fair, that's the place where you would have done it. Always wait for the low of day to be liquidated. Then look for your long entry. Because that gives you the best chance. Doesn't mean it's going to be profitable. But that's where you would have done it. Now what you'll do is you'll find intraday hourly support and then you'll watch that. Currently you have a close way up there. Yesterday was the trade. Yesterday we just got cut off before we could do it, but we did set up the short yesterday. Today, if I was in that short trade, I would be telling everybody I'm not doing anything because I'm in profit, baby. I'm on the right side of the market. There's no point in doing anything. But if you're trying to buy it, I mean, 21,466, stop below the low of day, and then pray. Hope for the best. That's not really a decent strategy. You are at support on Ethereum, so I'd probably take and Bitcoin to be fair. So I mean, yeah, maybe take your chance there. But you will be looking to sell even if it gets a 50% retrace of today's range. That's probably as high as it's going to go. That is a big breakdown candle. So if you do get long here at daily support on Ethereum, there's where you're looking to take profits. 1761. And then Bitcoin's out there too. So I mean, I hate when I don't think I would buy that. It's a bounce off support and a fresh low liquidation. So that was your opportunity there. Anything's possible. So watch 5-minute support. If you get back down here, see if that holds. 5-minute support rarely does hold, but and also if Bitcoin does get the bounce here at daily support, I mean that's a beautiful, perfect daily support test too, by the way. Then these two assets down here could potentially move higher. I'd like to know why TRB USDT's gotten such a big bounce from the lows. I mean, it is up almost 600%. If ETH BTC breaks to the downside, ETH should have a lot more way to go to the downside. Yeah, let's go look at ETH BTC. It's moving up. It doesn't look like it wants to go lower, but it did test supply and it is rolling over. You tested it yesterday and then you ran on up into resistance. So if you're looking to get short on this, then you got to watch a retest of that and you got to make sure that holds. All right. I don't like this asset. I don't trade it as much anymore since I almost liquidated my whole account once on a stupid ghost wick, scam wick. This thing does that often. Big wicks to the upside. It's difficult to trade it because of that. But I mean, it makes sense what you're saying, right? If it breaks to the downside, you should have a lot more way to go to the downside. But that's just this asset. And ETH has been stronger on the move higher, right? Ethereum was up 120% when it was in the daily resistance, right there. So, yeah, it's got a lot of room to go to the downside, whereas Bitcoin didn't ever get anything going. So yeah, and both of these assets could bounce. I mean, being down for a solid week like that is not the end of the road, but it's typically not the most bullish sign in the world. Let's throw a fib channel on it and just see if we can find a decent support. Yeah, I mean, you may close above that today, but you're at daily support. That's all you can say about it. You're back above hourly support, but if it holds, we'll see. There's 14 minutes left on the close. Get away, chair. This looks like it wants to go higher. It didn't go without us. It's not even gone yet. It's right back down. It's choppy. Dollar coming into supply. Yeah, it could be rolling over too. But as long as the dollar's strong, I like it to the upside because it has so much more room to go. Do I make my own beats? No, I do not. I used to a long time ago, but I did not make that. I used to play with Fruity Loops. KNC entry is coming up. Yeah, let's go look at it. There we go. Pulling right on into hourly resistance. We want to see this price hold on a close. Let me get this pulled up over here on my broker. It's up 3.4% now. The resistance on the resistance on Bitget is 1.794. So even though this is Binance, that's why. 1.794 is this resistance. And yeah, it is testing it. Not quite tested there, but it did test it on Bitget. It's currently testing it on Bitget, but it's not on Binance. Looks weird on that. So even there, the price is different. That is so strange. We're pushing up above it on Bitget. We got to see it hold. Don't want to see it start to trend away from there. So we're going to keep an eye on it. I just got long after a fresh low. Uber tight stop. Bitcoin. Yeah. Being impatient and taking this NZD before the close. You won't get wrecked as long as you set your as long as you got your stop situated at 1%. We're well above that price on Bitget. It actually looks like it's trying to break out here. Not what we want to see. See how you're getting like really big above that? You don't want to see that typically, because that could mean that it's making a run up to the high of day. It wants to liquidate the high of day. So I don't really like it. I wanted to see it tag that and then roll over. When it's doing this, it's looking like it's trying to break out. And that's your entry there on NZD if you want to try it. All right, you're trying to get long two very weak assets. Let me go let him out. I'll be right back. All right. He doesn't want to go out, so he's probably just going to be aggravating. Come on, get up here. Up here. Hang on a second. Get up there. There you go. All right, so the other thing is like really breaking out. Really breaking out. There's the high of day, so if it's going to go off, then it should come off there. But if Bitcoin bounces, then this is likely to, continue. But there was, that's where you like want to take the entries usually. So that's like the liquidation of the high, right? If you're going to be bearish, now should be the time that it does it. If you start closing candles above that, excuse me, if you start closing candles above that, then you're probably going to get bullish continuation. It's similar to the Doge trade. Big high of day. Yeah, see how you liquidated yesterday's high. You got that bearish reaction, and now you've liquidated today's high. It doesn't look bearish to me. It looks like it wants to keep going. But if it drops under that and starts to trade away from it, that'll look good. But this is also 35 minutes from the New York Open. What's TBR doing? Still not doing a whole lot. This asset is like not even moving. It's just stuck in the same place. Only risking 1% if it closes under hourly demand. I'm closing it. Nice. That's all you can do. Nobody knows what price is going to do ever. We can look at technical analysis. We can get a good idea about what's going to happen, but we never know. And you take the risk. You know what you're risking. So if you get stopped out, then that just means you were wrong, or it just wasn't a good setup. This is moving on up to make a fresh high of day. So be careful. There is a fresh high of day. So now the short side is going to get punished. That's what a short squeeze does. See how your midpoint, it is a 5-minute candle though. If you get midpointy on the hourly, then it's going to look like it wants bullish continuation and then not a short trade. Yeah, Wes is going to be taking profits probably pretty soon. But good shot. I mean, it's daily support, and you're getting the bounce perfectly off of it. So let's see what happens. This one needs to roll back over and then start making lower closes. But if you continue closing higher candles, this is the first candle after the break, so we got time. On the Bitget exchange, you're trading well above that previous high, which is 1.815. You're at 1.830. So you're 15 cents above. Well, no, you're not 15 cents. Solana looks like a decent short. It was a decent short. It doesn't look like a decent short now. You're into support. You traded under support. Bitcoin bounced at support. No, it doesn't look like a decent short to me. Fresh high of day. This thing needs to start rolling over pretty soon, or it's going to look like it's going higher and we're going to scratch it. Yeah, but I mean, you've been going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row. Now's not the time to take a short on Solana. You got to wait for resistance. You got to wait for the bounce, right? Let me see if I can help you visualize what I'm talking about, because I know new traders don't really understand what I mean. But if this is support, we want to see this thing bounce, then we'll attack it and look for downside continuation. Right? Big days here. So that means that's going to be your weekly range, right? There. So let's pretend for a moment that this is going to be the low of the week. So what we will want to do then is we want to wait for this to trade back up into the 50% or 618 retracement there, and then look for our short entries. Okay? And that's going to be a few days away. It's not going to happen today or tomorrow. So it's going to, for this one, you're going to sit on your hands. It looks exactly like Bitcoin. Big bearish engulfing to the downside on the weekly range. So we will look for that weekly range. We will look for that weekly range to retrace. When it retraces, then we can look for short entries and look for next week's high. Right? And on Solana, it almost lines up pretty decent with this support. So, like, that's kind of what you're going to be looking for. Around 42 bucks. That's where you're going to be looking for short entries. The same goes for Bitcoin. We close that 200 week. That's a 200 week. So we broke down below the 200 simple. It's not good. Not good. It's like literally, I don't think it's ever happened before, where we got below the 200, then back above it, and then came back under it. That's the first time for everything. But yeah, you're gonna do the same thing on Bitcoin. So pretending or assuming that this is the weekly low. Today's Friday, so there's a pretty good chance that wherever today bottoms out, that will be the low of the week. This is a spot. I do understand that it doesn't close until Sunday, but your CME will close today, and spot and CME will probably trade similar. The weekend will be garbage trading after a big move like that today, being on Friday. Yeah, but you're going to be looking for the same thing. You're going to be looking roughly up in here, 24K. That's where we're going to look for next week's high to be. We'll look for shorts there, and then we'll look for the expansion lower. You can't short it now. And if you're buying it based solely on, you're just buying it for a bounce today. Like Wes waited for the new low of day, that's where he got long, right there. And now he's just seeing how far he can push it. Your hourly just closed above on KNC. Closed above the high of day. See that? That's not what you want to see. Is it possible that this is a trap? It is, but as at this point right now, trying to short this is going to be very risky. Because the price is showing us the willingness to trade higher and the ability to close higher. Which is never good. Not if you're looking for downside. just out of curiosity, what's this thing's weekly look like? So maybe it does roll over here. I mean, the actual, what is going on? The actual supply on this would be the body, but since it's a doji, we're checking the low to see if that holds. Right? There's the breakdown. Whoop. This is the first time you're retesting the area, so it does look okay still for the short. I just wish that hourly would not have closed above the high of day. There's the weekly. Nice hourly close on that weekly price. See how that happens? I mean, you don't get no better than that. Just close right at it. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to stop there. You definitely want to see it starting to trade back under the previous high of day, because then this doesn't look like a liquidation anymore. If we go back over and look at Doge, and I'll talk you through how that played out. That's right there. So this was the high of day on Doge. See how Doge did? That was the high of day right there. Doge trades away, comes back in, makes the liquidation above the high of day. And then look what your next 5-minute candle, 5 minutes. Look what it did. Boom, down. Right? This doesn't look anything like what our asset is doing. So there's the high of day. Up. Big, strong, bullish close. Now you're pulling back into the old high of day currently. So this would probably be looked at with bullish continuation. You got to get under it. You got to take out this candle. And on the hourly, you need to get all the way down there to make it a trap. A stalling out around the midpoint could indicate further upside. This thing closed higher. It's just not going anywhere. I guess it's not being heavily traded. Point of control's in the middle of the range. Man, it sucks when that happens. Yeah. Volatility expansion here. Look at that expansion. So you still have room to go to the upside on this before it's going to be considered extremely overbought, right? You're just barely overbought on the RSI. It could go all the way up into 187, 188, and then roll over. That just means that volatility could subside up there. So it would be similar to like what Wes is doing on Bitcoin right now, trading the bounce trade. You would essentially be looking to short this for the bounce short. But it's bullish. Volatility expansion occurring to the upside. But you're back under the high of day. This is that weekly low, so it could be treated as supply. This is the reaction you want to see. So now at least you have a place to manage your risk off of, right? That's where it fell. That now it's coming down. So if you get a retest of 182.7, you take a short there, place a stop loss there. Doesn't mean the trade will work, but you do have somewhere to base your risk off of. And you can see just down to there would be a 2-to-1 risk to reward. So just retracing the bullish move essentially would be a 2-to-1 risk to reward. You could take profits, move stop to break even if that occurs. Right? You start closing 5-minute candles back above this white line, I would leave it alone. That's just me though. You are welcome to do what you want. I got a short in now. Fill up my Essentia. That's good water. Very good water. So we're gonna try our luck on this one. As long as we're not starting to close 5-minute candles back above that. Aussie dollar at daily support, making 4-hour bullish divergence, also 4-hour support. Yeah, and if the dollar rolls over, then Aussie may find support there. We looked at it a little bit earlier. So, I mean, it's not my kind of trade, but you could check it. This looks bad. This looks like you're going to get continuation to the upside. Retest of that weekly low. It needs to trade back under today's high. Otherwise, you're bullish, and shorting it's going to be a loss. I don't like it trading back up to that. We know what it is, right? We know that's it could be interpreted as weekly supply. I guess if you're staying under that, it's okay. And we're only 15 minutes, right? So, I mean, this could be it. This could be it. But these things are so volatile. I have taken positions on them and then seen a wick, just nasty. We've already liquidated the swing high. We've already liquidated the high of day. So if it is going to roll over there at that weekly supply, which technically supply is the body of the candle, but I have seen the lows act like supply before. So technically, if this is going to hold at weekly supply, then, us getting a 2-to-1 risk reward out of it should be easy. If it starts to drop, we should be done in and out of this thing in quick fashion. But that hourly close, I don't like it. I don't like the fact that the hourly closed above today's high, and I don't like the fact that this candle is struggling at this bullish candle's midpoint. So let me show you what I mean. This is your bullish hour. You're not even getting down to the 50% retracement of it. Not yet, anyways. So this looks like bullish continuation. We'll hang on to it for a little bit. We'll see what it does. Bitcoin's moving back down. Not really. West thinks he's found the low of day. I think he could be right. We'll see. Let's get Ethereum up over here. Not USDT, just Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum is still an inside week. That's starting to look a little bit better. Ethereum looks like an inside week. Or it is not looks like, it is an inside week. So this is going to be the low of day. Then you want to see it hold on Ethereum as well. You got the liquidation of the low of day. And a slight bounce, nothing major. This thing needs to go soon. It's just, if, when both assets when both assets are weak, and in fact, these New Zealand and Japanese yen are the weakest assets on the day, both of them, you get a lot of this. I mean, for 3 hours you've been testing supply, so it does look like it wants to hold. You could get a stab below this wick just to liquidate it, and that would give you a decent risk to reward entry there, because that could get your entry there, but you're already short. You've already taken the position because of what you say. How'd you say it exactly? You're being impatient. Just kidding, man. You might be in decent shape, right? You said you're only risking 1% on it, so that's good work. And this looks like it's struggling to go. So this one might not be in play. And then what do we want to do on this one? This one is breaking down. So on this one, you would want to see it hold right here. Last hour, you tested that. You don't want to see it go much higher than that. And then the next area to look for profit taking would be there. See that swing high right there? So we'll see. This looks like it's going to rip our faces off here in a second. I want to see this thing start to drop. There's 17 minutes left before the open. And we got this one, this one, this one. And Wes is long Bitcoin from the low of day. Let's get this over here so people know what's what. Here we are. Euro Aussie is also screwed up. See how they're back to back right next to each other. Both weak. So Bitcoin for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles was bullish. This looks similar. Bitcoin stalling out. So is this. This might be getting its strength based solely on Bitcoin finding the low. Doesn't make sense though, because it wasn't weak at all when Bitcoin showed extreme weakness last night. There is a good risk to reward shorting Solana. If you think so, go ahead. It's not what I'm trying to show you. I didn't see a good risk to reward because it had already moved down so low. I mean, if you're expecting to hold it and looking for fresh yearly lows, then there is a decent risk to reward for that trade. You could get 2-to-1 risk to reward taking a short where it currently is, looking for a fresh low on the year. We operate a little bit in a tighter range than that. Why wouldn't you long at 21,200? Why wouldn't I? It's just so weak, right? And I lost so much money when I was first starting to learn how to trade by trying to pick bottoms like that, right? Because this was the low of day, then you took out the low of day there. So it doesn't mean that anybody that took that long got stopped out, but it's, and it wasn't a very big liquidation. It barely went under it. And you're getting the bounce. So, I mean, it could work, right? It could be the low of day, and you could slowly trade sideways to up for the rest of the day. 100% that could happen. See how you're coming back down here, probably to get that wick. This right here on Euro Aussie, I would not take because I wanted to see an instant reaction there. We didn't get it. And this looks like it's getting ready to rip faces. When you're looking for Forex trades around the London session or the New York session, you're trying to trade something that's strong versus something that's weak, right? So the first two to the last two, that's typically what you want. When you're trading something that's either side by side or both of them extremely weak or both of them extremely strong, you get a lot of sideways choppy horse crap. So this is going to go right on up and take out the low of the high of day again. It looks like it's moving with Bitcoin. The hourly close above the high of day was very key in telling us that, we don't like it anymore. It didn't act like Doge did the other day when you got a liquidation and then an instant bearish reaction. This looks like bullish continuation. Let's see here. Yeah. And our point of control is down there as well. Not really what we want to see. But weekly supply is still holding, so we'll keep it on watch. Do you smoke straights or weed or both? No, I just smoke cigarettes. I can't smoke the Chiva. I did when I was a kid, right? When I was in my teenage years. We smoked the hell out of it. But I can't anymore because I don't like what it does to me mentally. I need to quit smoking cigarettes. They're freaking killing me. But everybody's got a vice of something. No, I don't. Yeah, not my jam. Nope. I drink like a fish, though. You want to hit the bar and drink them out of money, we'll do that. But that's about as far as I go with anything. Any substances. Smoke cigarettes and drink booze. We're just kind of waiting for anybody that's just popping in. We think Bitcoin may have made a low of day. Well, Wes does because Wes got long. we think we got a low of day in on Bitcoin. We're gonna see, and we're trying to short KNC USDT if it will drop away from the high of day. The longer it keeps trading at the high of day or the previous high of day, we're gonna probably say forget it, right? It needs to go down now, especially because it's 9:20. We got 10 minutes until the last influx of volume comes into all of these markets and sends them all throughout all the stops. Which I haven't taken any of these positions, these two. I just set them up because they were on watch. I am currently short this one. And I'm about to bounce because I don't like it. What it's doing, what it's done, how it's acting. It looks like it wants to have bullish continuation. How any second this thing is just going to rip through our stop. The only thing that's keeping me watching it is that. But I mean, the high is so close to it. I mean, literally you could just right through there and then drop, right? So waiting is not a bad idea on this one. You don't have to take the short right yet. Wait until you see what you want to see. And right now, what we see going on is not what we want. And then somebody took the NZDJPY trade. They've already taken it. They took it based on this right here, which is demand, apologies. So, if you push down into this right here and lower, that's more than likely not going to be good for that trade. I don't know where your stop is. I just put it there. Your stop is probably down there, which messes your risk to reward up tremendously. But if it takes out this wick low here and then starts to slide back to the upside, I think you're in good shape. It's okay because that's going to be a 5-minute swing low. See? That's your swing low. That's what it's looking for. So if you take that out and then get that bounce, you may still be okay. It's making higher highs. It's wedging up, so it's literally, it can go any direction at this point. Wasn't a whole lot to choose from today because Bitcoin broke down in the middle of the night. Seems like you London guys or you London gals get all the fun. Londoners. You're getting all the good trades. Feels like a long way. Weed and workout for max gains. Weed is the gift from heavens. I have no problem with it at all. I'm not shitting on it. In fact, I wish, I think it should be legal because, it's safer than booze even, if you ask me. I mean, the statistics show you don't see many smoking, I guess, DUIs. Well, you see them, but not a whole lot of people getting killed from it or driving stoned or whatnot. And like I said, I used to do it as a kid. I have no problem with it at all. It makes me paranoid. When I was a kid, it didn't. Now I'm an adult, it does. So I just can't do it. Don't like it. But I don't mind if other people like it. Heck, I have a couple buddies that live here in Vera with me that are smoke weed every day, all day long, like Snoop Dogg. It's just not my jive, not my thing. I like drink too much. I don't have to move. I could set an alarm. I just don't like it. I don't like getting up at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Because I get just as many opportunities during the New York session. Sometimes you just, you don't get to take a trade, and that's that. That is what it is. It's all good. Because tomorrow, is another day. And we might have the best setup we've seen all week tomorrow across the board. Just because we don't see much of anything today doesn't mean anything. Euro Aussie is doing now what we wanted it to do. That looks good. This thing is starting to, but I would really like to see that drop happen. We're 5 minutes away from the New York Open. As long as it stays trading here, it looks like it's going to go after the stop. So you might want to wait to see if that happens at 9:30. Excuse me. Yeah, Jimenez nailed Bitcoin. He freaking killed that trade. Proud of you. I'm proud of you. This conversation made me roll a joint. Where does DXY top out? It's insane. It could potentially top out pretty soon. It's coming into daily supply, but it doesn't have to top out there. Right there. It could probably pull back from there, but I mean, this thing's gonna rip. It looks like it's gonna rip. It's too late. They got long there. Everybody did. Pff, up it went. It broke out to the downside, drawing everybody short, and then you rip their faces off. So that's the place where I'd want to see it find resistance, and it has to show me that it's resistance. I'm not going to take a short on it though, because you're what you're doing. I'm doing the same exact thing here. So I mean, yeah, whatever. If you think it's going to bounce from there, take a short, get out quick, right? You're taking it solely based on a bounce, just a reaction. You're definitely not looking for that to be the top. But it could ultimately. Anything's possible. Yeah, this one is just sideways and choppy. Remember, if it gets under that low, you want to see it instantly get back above it. We're 3 minutes out from the New York Open. And right now we're roughly about in the midpoint of the hourly bullish candle. Right there, so it could definitely find support here. But if it gets lower than that, we're going to take profits. It's too late in the day for me to trade FX. So I'm not taking this. I have a very, very specific rule when it comes to FX. 7 to 10 is it. It isn't 10 yet, but usually if it's going to happen, it's already happened. Right? The entry. Especially when you're in the middle of a daily range like that. So I just don't take them. I know that I'll find a trade in the next day or so. Let the dollar pull back, find support. We'll get short euro or something. KNC's working out pretty good. What's the other one doing? It's still doing absolutely nothing. But there's not much liquidity in this, so it wouldn't be nothing for 9:30 to happen, and then you get a spike right above the high of day, and then a drop. Wait, is that even the high of day? That isn't the high of day. Yeah, it is. That's the high of day. Yeah, there's your open right there. So that's the high of day. It's just not doing anything. It's trading sideways as sideways can be. One minute. Here comes the volume. Let's get the SPY open up down there. Oh, that's why I was going to say the SPY's not moving. It opened up way down there. So once again, my after hours data is not on again. Doesn't really matter. Big gap to the downside. 423.14 is probably going to get tagged. Maybe not today, but eventually. This is right back up to the entry. If this, this could be, it could be just a slow trade up to try to fill the gap, but we'll see. I prefer a nice gin and tonic. I don't like gin that much. I can drink it. It's not terrible, but I can't drink it straight. It's too citrusy or something. I like citrus. It's weird. Has a weird flavor. My go-to drink is citron vodka with Sprite as a mixer. It's nice and refreshing. That's the go-to, man. It's 5 o'clock. I'm making a drink. You know what I'm saying? And I have a 32-ounce tumbler. It's a stainless steel cup. It used to keep ice good. I don't know what's wrong with it. I guess I need a new one. But I typically fill it up with ice, and I do half and half. Half the cup vodka, the other half Sprite. And if you do it perfect, a whole can of Sprite will fill you up. It's pretty good. So I like the fact that we're getting the volume in from the New York session open, and this thing isn't like ripping the faces off. But I still want it lower, obviously, so I can get the risk off the table. And I just need it down here, and I'll exit it 2/3 of the position, move the stop to break even, and then if it wants to pull back, because it's up pretty good, we'll set in it and see how low it goes. I would much rather short the top than buy the top. See, it's just been bullish for the last 3 days, even though Bitcoin and Ethereum and all your major crypto assets have been pulling back. Even risk has been pulling back. So that's typically or technically the reason why we got the short, right? Because the last 3 days has been nice and bullish. And this is a weekly supply. Not this, sorry, this. This is the previous day's high. That is weekly supply. So, a bounce is what we were looking for, just a bounce. And so far it looks okay. I'll show you the weekly supply. It's not a legit weekly supply because it's a doji. Typically we look for the open of the bullish candle to be the supply, but sometimes, especially in cryptocurrencies, just the candle itself will act as supply, the low end of the range. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullish weeks in a row on it. And right there is last week's high. So we want to be out of it before that. And we will be, because our exit is right there. Lots of liquidations occurred on it though. I mean, so it could have bullish continuation, especially if Bitcoin keeps going to the upside. New entry on Bitcoin, if you were to take it, Like if you think that the low of day is in, then you're looking for that to be the spot where it stops going lower. And that would be, 21,466.14. Let me go back over here on the hourly on this so I can show you why it's struggling. See this swing high? That's probably why it's getting difficult for it to continue lower. One 5-minute close above one spot 827 and I will exit this beast, right? As long as it's closing under it, I probably will hold it because it's small risk. It's a small risk. It was very bullish and I hated last hour's close, so I didn't take it with a max position. A SPY is just not doing much of anything. There we go. Get that push, baby. Come on. You got this. It's definitely different because on Bitget, you're still trading above the last hour's open. But on this, we're under it. Yeah, looks okay. What is that price down there? 177. 1775. So we're going to take profits there. 1.775. And we'll take 70% off. There you go. Order succeeded. We just got to push down there. And we'll be out with 2/3 profit taken. And we'll move the stop to break even. We'll be risk free to let it trade lower for the next week or two. If it wants to. .save gaming and crypto, what's up? When do you do your when doing your fib retracement on the weekly, do you take wick to wick? I do. Yes. You want the entire range. That's low to high. Or since it's a bearish candle, you would take it high to low and then look for the 50% retrace next week. And then we'll look for that to be the high of next week's range. And then we'll try to short it then. Daily closes above the 50% retracement wouldn't look so good to me. But it's still legit. We'll keep an eye on it. Hopefully that happens roughly around Tuesday or Wednesday morning at the latest. Dude, no one drinks gin straight, okay? Closed the NZD, didn't like the 5-minute. Yeah, it's just, you got two weak currencies, right? Both of them are weak, and they're both the weakest currencies of the day. Yeah, it's done, right? You wanted to see that thing spike after getting there, or at the very least there, because that's intraday support. You didn't. You're blasting right through it, and this is coming up too. So both of these assets weren't the best. The only reason I even had them on the watch list is because they hadn't made a move yet. They were both setting roughly around 0% on the day. Which meant, we could get the short or the long looking for continuation. And neither one of them are going in the direction for continuation. But we did get this one. We did get this one. Bitcoin is at hourly support or under it. But, you know, there's 18 minutes left on the close. If this closes under, then your low of day probably isn't safe. Right? Because if you close under, then that means you're potentially looking for continuation. And the SPY is rolling over, so let's put the SPX 500 over there, as that's just the SPX CFD. Actually, let's just pull this watch list up and see how much is red. Woo! Almost everything is red. O'Reilly isn't. O'Reilly is like, this stock only goes up. If you guys are looking for an investment, this is the asset. It's O'Reilly Auto Parts. You just made a fresh all-time high this month, whereas the SPX, NASDAQ, everything's still bearish on the year. This thing made new all-time highs. It only goes up. These are monthly candles. It only goes up. And it's like straight up. But obviously you need to buy it at support, monthly support. Don't buy it at the all-time high. Wait for a pullback into monthly support, then look for bullish entries. It's just a buy and hold asset. So you notice how this thing is not coming down to the profit target. Bitcoin's back above hourly support. We kind of need it to push lower just to take us out of this trade. Because you're still trading inside of last hour's range. So O'Reilly's the only thing that's green on the day. Well, on that watch list. You're still trading inside of last hour's range. That's why you're stalling out here. You're at the open of the last hour. It's finding a little bit difficult to push lower. I guess one could argue that you're also in the 5-minute support, but I don't really look for 5-minute support and resistances to hold. SPY's pushing down, making a fresh low of day, but also into support, so it might just be a bounce. We'll get that push. We just need it to push one more penny. It's not even a penny. Well, yeah, it's close. Close to a penny. 1 penny. You can give us 1 penny. SPY's breaking down. Come on, get down there. 177. 1.775 is my take profit. Might move it up to 1.778. But I think it's going to push down. Bitcoin's finding support, hourly support. That's the place to get long. If you think the low of day is in, obviously stop would be low of day. Now, if it does slowly drift upwards, if it does slowly drift up, and you will probably come back to take out the low of day around the Asian session. But it won't be the Asian session because when the Asian session happens, it'll be there Saturday morning. So, yeah. You got an easy spot to mark your risk on Bitcoin, low of day. Any thoughts on ETH? Yeah, let's go look at it. We had it up for a while. It's doing pretty much the same thing as Bitcoin is. It made a low of day right there. You got a slight little bounce, but notice how your close was lower. So you don't really have a support on ETH yet. I mean, if it did, it would be last hour's close. It looks just like Bitcoin. It looks bad. It had a massive breakdown yesterday. The only good thing, the only positive thing that you could say about ETH that you can't say about Bitcoin is you're still trading inside of last week's range. Bitcoin decimated last week's range. Decimated it. Absolutely killed it. You're a bearish engulfing on last week's range. Really big move to the downside. So anybody that's getting long today is getting long for just expecting the load of day to be in. That is it. Not the best trade in the world, but it could work. So naturally, if that's going to work on Bitcoin, it should work on ETH in theory, right? But if you break down below the low day, you're probably going to see downside continuation. So I wouldn't be trying to buy it under these lows, especially now that you've had the last bit of volume for the day. And of course, this thing isn't going to go straight down and take us out, because that would be just way too easy. Bastard. Just waiting for profit targets to be hit so we can exit, get out of it, get our risk off the table. DXY looks like it's getting a move back to the upside. SPY is breaking down. Ethereum's low is probably going to get breached right here in a second, which is good for our trade as well. Unless with fantastic tonic. Yeah, I've drank gin with tonic water before. It's not terrible with Sprite either. Or grapefruit juice, I think. Squirt. It's a fantastic soda. Is a fib off the week going to be better than a fib off the day? It just depends on your time frame. Like, what I'm waiting for next week is I'm waiting for Bitcoin to retrace this week's range, just to bounce up, and then I want to see it find resistance, roughly around the 50% or 618 retracement. If it finds resistance there, then I will look at that as potentially being the high of the week for next week. We got such a big move down, and we broke down through a lot of stuff. There is that potential that Bitcoin just keeps going lower. That opens next week, maybe retraces the today's range. Maybe that's all you get, right? Maybe. It's not the trade that I would want, but I mean, we'll keep an eye on it. We trade every day. We'll find the top of next week, or we'll try to find the top of next week. And we'll short it. Right? We'll short it. I already took profits, so whatever happens, I made money. There you go. And your risk is off the table. Boom, shakalaka. Done, done, done. That's the way to trade right there. Get in, get money, get out, move your stops, and let whatever happens happen. It doesn't matter. You can't lose on it. So once you can't lose on it, that's a pretty good place to be. That means you're playing with house money, the bank's money. Just waiting and waiting and waiting. BTC, any hope? Yeah, I mean, not really. Not at this point. I'm just talking about for like long positions, right? And when we get down near the bottom end of the range, we will be looking to get long again, more than likely, because I think the low is in. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm treating it. That's how I'm going to trade it. But I can short it down to the low end of the range if I can get a position, right? Good mindset, Wes. Yeah, it's the best mindset. Why will we retake the low? Not sure what you're talking about. If Bitcoin breaks under the low of the day, there's a good chance that you're going to see downside continuation. And it's not from things that are happening right now, it's from things that already happened. Right? The amount of long liquidations that we triggered could be enough to keep this thing moving lower and lower and lower and lower and lower all day long. That was a big down day yesterday. That's a big 5-minute candle to the downside. This thing is not cooperating. Regarding the tonic, I mean great tonic. Not fantastic with tonic. It's bearable with tonic. I feel like lemonade would be even better. Yeah, I like citrusy stuff as well in my drinks. I'm going with a scotch and coke for a change. Normally neat scotch or bourbon and coke. Yeah, I've never been a neat scotch or neat whiskey drinker. I don't like the flavor of it. I never really have. I was When I was a little bit younger, I liked rum and coke, Captain Morgan's or Sailor Jerry's. But now in my boomer years, I like vodka and Sprite. Jimenez will definitely find the top of next week. He did this week. I'm looking for a long too, but I don't know where. Yeah, I don't think your long is today on Bitcoin. You see that SPX breaking down. Oh, Bitcoin was just the leader in this scenario. And it's going down, so I want this thing to start going down. I've been doing dark and stormy with Gosling's diet, ginger beer, and rum. I have to give that a shot. That actually sounds good. I lean towards Bitcoin low is in for now, but the move seems to be so corrective. Can't get an impulse. Yeah, that's a big. Yesterday was the day that really changed my whole mindset on Bitcoin. Right? It did look like it was just a tiny little pullback, but this is basically because of liquidations, right? We could pull up this and go look at the liquidations, but it's probably not going to show us anything right now. But I expect the long liquidations to be a big spike since that move lower. I do not understand why it's going lower. I mean, that is definitely a long liquidations. Lots of it. And then here's the outflows. So we got an even bigger outflow candle today. So yeah, I mean, we'll just wait for it to get to the bottom end of the range. The bottom end of the range is down here. Right there. So that's where we look to be a buyer again. SPY is breaking down, so I want to see this breakdown. Bitcoin and ETH just struggling inside of the last hour's candle. Come on, just drop, will you? I hate moving take profit levels. I think it can get down there. Just wish it would start doing it already. 20 minutes we've been trading here. The same price, so my favorite fruity drink is coconut rum and pineapple juice. Yeah, that's not bad. I've drank that before myself. Maybe our short is around weekly supply. You mean on this KNC it is, or I see what you're saying on Bitcoin. Yeah, for sure. For sure that will be a price of interest if it gets up there today. I mean, not today, next week, right? Yeah, that'll put you up around the 618. Yeah, that could be a very good place to look. So since this is still trading here, I'm going to go ahead and move it up just a bit. It looks like it's struggling to get under that. It's still early, obviously. And as long as it's trading under 1827, I still see it or like it lower. But I figured Bitcoin's weakness today would have made... I didn't think that you would see any bullish crypto assets today. Or if there were any, the plan was to wait for the liquidation and then get short. Which is what we've done. It's just taken forever to get to our target. Our target. Best drink with gin is Negroni with Antica. Antique. I don't even know what that is. Weekly supply is around the current midpoint of this week's candle. Yeah, I see it there. I thought you were talking about this. That, we took it at the low of the supply candle, but this asset doesn't have the best liquidity in it. Wait, you ain't no boomer, are you? No, I was just joking. Basically, I'm up there in age, though. I'm not young anymore. 43 yesterday. Over the hill. Boomer. Young is in the mind. I agree. You're only as old as you look. I mean, feel. Happy birthday. Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody for the birthday wishes. So many of them. I appreciate it. I guess we'll stretch it out a little bit wider. We just got the hourly close on it. ETH was lower. Did Bitcoin close lower? Yes, Bitcoin closed lower. So probably going to take out the low of day. It's just already, it's done so much to the downside. There's no way I could short it down here around the lows. What time is it? It's 10 o'clock? Alright. We'll give it a few more minutes. See what this thing's going to do. Yeah, down 7.73%. ETH is down 8.5%. On the exchange on Bitget, I have everything situated. And there's literally only 2 assets that are green on the day. The rest of them are red. It is a bloody day. And it's also a bloody day across the stock market. Lots of red out there today. So it was only natural to look for a short position, but on a bullish asset might have not have been the best one. But we'll keep it open as long as it's trading down there. You could, go ahead and move your risk down to break even if you wanted, because we've been in the trade for an hour now, over an hour. So if it does get back up to my entry, I don't want to be in it any longer anyways. And everything's made its lows, starting to get a little bit of a pop. 10 o'clock. There was no news today either. Nothing that would have, got the market going. There's a trend line from low wicks coming just below on Bitcoin. Let's see. Yeah, I see that. That's your channel pretty much. Well, that's wrong, but wedge, whatever you want to call it. It could definitely find support. You're at support. You're trading just under daily support. Oh, no, you're not. You're above it. Right there. So that's why you're bouncing. That, and I believe it was also, no, it wasn't. It was just daily. So that's why you're getting a slight little bounce. This is coming right back up. That's not what I want to see. This one's not finding resistance either. But this one still hasn't tagged supply yet. The SPY moved in lower. Let's see what the SPX looks like. Yeah. Bearish continuation. You're probably going to tag a trend line soon. No, any trend line there is going to be absolutely parabolic. Way too steep. It's about as good as I could do it. You've broken down. If Bitcoin's any indication on what we can expect out of the SPY, then lower prices is coming. But I don't see it being a weekly engulf. Well, it's definitely not going to be today because today's the close. And on the weekly, the SPX still looks fine. Yeah, it looks fine. It looks good. Alright, since this thing's pushing back up, you know what to do. Get your stop down by your entry. And then maybe it finds resistance and rolls back over again. I gotta get some breakfast. My stomach's growling. But that's what we're gonna watch. And then whoever bought Bitcoin's lows hoping for the low of the day to be in, good luck on that. I don't suggest it. It doesn't look like it's going to be in. But you do got a trend line coming in right in there. Maybe that's where it wants to bounce. Bouncing off a daily support is what I would have wanted to see, not so much the trend line. So yeah, that's that. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. You guys know what to do. If you got any questions, or if you any questions at all, you just drop them down in the comment section, as I do read every single comment and I will answer it. You guys have a fantastic day. Make sure you all trade safe. Make sure you trade smart. And as always, happy trading.